Joining me now for more on this, Tech Council of Australia CEO Kate Pounder. Thanks for your time. So, a cyber shield, is this a thing or is it just a name for a bit more investment?
It's a real thing, and it could not be more timely. We know that the range of cyber threats against Australia has been increasing. So it's more important now than ever that our security agencies have access to the best technology in the world and the best capabilities. It's also more important than ever that we have real-time threat sharing between our top tech companies and the Australian government to make sure we get the very first insight into when those threats might be emerging to give us the best chance to combat them.
So on that last point, I guess the logical thing is if a type of threat comes in to one of our major companies and they share it straight away, another major company would find out about that. Now, in one sense, they're competitors, but in another, there's a bit of Team Australia there. Are companies willing to share that sort of stuff?
Look, absolutely. There is a real Team Australia approach here, and so there's already existing collaboration between some of those top tech companies who might be getting insights into threats that are emerging in Australia or globally, and they have a practice of sharing that with the ASD and other agencies, but this is about strengthening that even further. And that, again, is more and more important as more and more threats emerge.
Okay, so the so-called shield, from what we know about it, it's about, from what you alluded to there, it's going to encompass not just government-stored data, but private as well. How does the sort of split go? I mean, how responsible is the federal government for what happens with private companies?
Well, firstly, this deal has three parts to it. Not all of it is about cybersecurity. Some of it is about also growing our economy. So the first part of the deal is to see 9 new data centres rolled out across Australia. That's a 250% increase in data centre capability. And that's really vital because as we digitise our economy, we're using more and more computer processing power. And to be competitive, we need access to more and more infrastructure. The second part is the Cyber Shield, and that's a specific initiative which is about better collaboration between Microsoft and the Australian Signals Directorate, which is one of our top security agencies. And that purpose of that deal is that if Microsoft is becoming aware of threats across the economy, that there's even more capacity to share that information with the ASD to help protect Australians, but also to invest in building the capability of the ASD to be able to protect Australians. And then the third part, really importantly, is investing in the Australian people. So creating new jobs and creating new training pathways, including in data centre technologies and cybersecurity, and in doing that in purpose-built facilities like the one I'm standing in now at the Institute of Applied Technology in Sydney.
Well, we've spoken before about getting tech workers and incentives on that. Is that the sort of thing to push people over the line? Instead of just, a normal course somewhere, there's one of these hubs somewhere and they go in, it makes it all seem a bit more exciting?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm standing on a movie set, standing here, in a facility in TAFE, New South Wales, in Medibank in Sydney. But this is the reality of what training in tech can look like today. It's particularly in a field like cybersecurity. So right here, students can come in, they can practice a simulation of attacks on different sites in a community. There's a model village just outside where I'm standing, so people can see in real time the effect of those attacks. They can see what strategies help to combat it, and then they can learn from that and go out and apply those skills in our, around the economy to try and keep Australia safer.
We talk about AI and there are lots of threats and concerns with it. What would you say? Let's paint a bright future. What could people be doing with AI in the next 10 or 20 years, whether consciously or unconsciously, they could be excited about?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have a productivity challenge in Australia. Our productivity is at a 60-year low. So one of the big opportunities from AI is to lift that productivity up. And what that means is making it easier to grow our economy, making it easier to pay for higher wages and to have a better standard of living. And some examples of that are things like, as we're seeing these AI co-pilots rolling out around the world, it means you don't have to take meeting minutes. You don't sometimes even have to attend meetings. It can summarise it for you. That's probably a big boon for some of us. It can also mean things like helping us better diagnose diseases earlier than we do today and to give people a chance to get even better treatment earlier. It can mean things like helping us anticipate the spread of a natural disaster like a flood or fire and getting real-time information on its path and getting better advice to communities about how to evacuate and prepare for it. So there's lots of opportunity from AI if we get it right.